A day at the Children's Center. Kelly Sullivan held her 6-year-old son Ben's hand as they stepped into the local Children's Center, a vibrant sanctuary filled with the sounds of joy and excitement. The walls were adorned with whimsical murals of colorful animals and playful designs, each stroke of paint reflecting the center's dedication to creating a nurturing and lively environment for children. Homemade artwork, crayon drawings, finger paintings, and collages dressed the space like a gallery of innocence and creativity. Ben's eyes widened as he took in the scene. His red hair, a vivid contrast against the backdrop of the center, seemed to dance with each step he took. His freckled face lit up with a mixture of awe and eagerness as he surveyed the play structures, slides, swings, and climbing frames. He was a bundle of energy and excitement, his youthful enthusiasm contagious. "Can I go play, Mommy?" Ben's voice was filled with anticipation, his eyes sparkling as he looked up at Kelly. Kelly smiled warmly, her heart swelling with affection. "Of course, sweetie. Just stay where I can see you." Ben didn't need any further encouragement. He darted off towards the group of kids already engrossed in their games. His laughter, bright and carefree, blended seamlessly with the symphony of other children's voices that filled the room. Kelly watched him for a moment, her heart brimming with pride. She loved seeing him so happy, thriving in such a positive and interactive environment. Finding a comfortable spot, Kelly settled into a plush armchair positioned strategically to give her a clear view of Ben. She took out her book, a cherished companion during these visits, and began to immerse herself in its pages. The quiet hum of the center, punctuated by occasional bursts of laughter and playful shouts, created a soothing backdrop for her reading. For a while, everything seemed perfect. Kelly cherished these moments of calm where she could indulge in her love for reading while keeping a watchful eye on her son. Ben's joy was palpable, his energy boundless as he navigated the play structures, joining in games and making new friends. However, her peace was interrupted by the presence of a woman at the far end of the room. The woman, who appeared to be in her mid-40s with short blonde hair and a demeanor that seemed slightly out of place amidst the center's vibrant atmosphere, stood with an almost palpable intensity. Her gaze was fixed on Kelly and Ben, scrutinizing them with a scrutiny that felt both invasive and unsettling. Kelly tried to ignore the woman at first, attributing the occasional curious glance to the rarity of seeing a black mother with a white child in such a setting. She was accustomed to the occasional stare or whisper, but she had never felt so distinctly uncomfortable. The woman's eyes were sharp, her expression a blend of curiosity and something else, something harder to pinpoint. The woman's gaze intensified, shifting from mere observation to overt suspicion. Kelly felt a chill run down her spine as the woman's eyes seemed to narrow, her posture rigid and unyielding. Despite Kelly's attempts to focus on her book, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As the minutes ticked by, Kelly's unease grew. The woman's scrutiny was not just about looking but about judging, and the tension in the air became palpable. Kelly's fingers gripped the edges of her book tighter, her thoughts racing. She wondered what the woman was thinking, why she was staring so intently, and what prompted this feeling of discomfort. Eventually, the woman began to move, her steps purposeful as she made her way across the room. Kelly looked up, trying to brace herself for whatever might come next. The woman stopped directly in front of her, her arms crossed defensively and her expression hardening. "Excuse me," the woman's voice was cold, laced with an accusatory edge. "Is that boy yours?" Kelly's heart skipped a beat, a mixture of shock and apprehension bubbling up. She took a deep breath, striving to keep her voice calm and steady. "Yes, he's my son." The woman's eyes flickered with skepticism, her brows furrowing as she scrutinized Kelly with renewed intensity. "Are you his nanny or something?" "No," Kelly replied, her tone patient but firm. "I'm his mother." The woman's expression remained unchanged, her skepticism only deepening. "That's impossible. He doesn't look anything like you. Where are his real parents?" Kelly felt a surge of anger and hurt, but she struggled to maintain her composure. The accusations stung, and the last thing she wanted was to create a scene, especially with Ben playing happily nearby. She tried to explain, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. "I adopted Ben when he was a baby. I'm his legal mother." The woman's suspicion didn't waver. She shook her head, her tone growing sharper. "I don't believe you. This doesn't add up. I think you've taken this child. I'm going to call the police." Kelly's heart raced at the prospect of law enforcement getting involved. Her mind raced with worst-case scenarios, her primary concern being the impact this situation would have on Ben. He was still engrossed in his play, blissfully unaware of the confrontation unfolding nearby. Kelly felt a wave of fear and helplessness, her thoughts shifting to how to protect her son from this escalating nightmare. "Please, there's no need for that," Kelly said, her voice pleading. "Ben is my son, and I love him very much. You're making a mistake." The woman's resolve seemed unshakable as she pulled out her phone, her fingers dialing 911 with a quick, practiced ease. "We'll see what the police have to say about this," she said, her tone filled with self-righteous certainty. I'm not going to let you get away with this." As the woman spoke to the 911 operator, Kelly's heart pounded in her chest. The eyes of other parents in the children's center were now fully on her, their expressions a mix of curiosity, concern, and judgment. Kelly felt isolated, the stares making her feel as though she were under a magnifying glass. She glanced over at Ben, his laughter and play contrasting sharply with the tension building around her. Kelly wished more than anything for this to be over quickly, for the truth to be recognized, and for Ben to remain unaffected by this disturbing encounter. The woman continued her conversation with the operator, her voice carrying across the room, each word a sharp reminder of the prejudice and mistrust she faced. Kelly's thoughts raced, her hope pinned on the police arriving quickly and seeing this situation for what it was, a misunderstanding rooted in bias and unfounded suspicion. In the midst of this turmoil, Kelly knew she had to stay composed. For Ben's sake, she had to remain calm, hopeful that justice and reason would prevail. Her resolve strengthened as she prepared herself for the confrontation with the authorities, determined to protect her son and her dignity, no matter the outcome. The arrival of authority. As Kelly sat in the children's center, the atmosphere around her felt increasingly charged with tension. The woman on the phone continued to describe the situation to the 911 operator with a tone of absolute certainty, her words filled with conviction that only seemed to heighten the discomfort in the room. The other parents' whispers grew louder, their curiosity blending with an undercurrent of judgment. Kelly took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. The noise of the children's laughter, once a soothing soundtrack, now felt distant and hollow against the backdrop of this unfolding drama. She kept her eyes on Ben, his bright red hair bobbing as he moved around, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just beyond his field of vision. Her heart ached at the thought of how this situation could affect him. The minutes dragged on, each second stretching into what felt like an eternity. Kelly's mind raced through various scenarios, each more unsettling than the last. She clung to the hope that the authorities would arrive and quickly see the situation for what it truly was, a misunderstanding rooted in ignorance and prejudice. Finally, the sound of sirens pierced through the ambient noise of the children's center, and Kelly's heart sank. The arrival of the police, while a necessary step, also brought with it a fresh wave of anxiety. She glanced around, seeing the concerned faces of other parents and staff, their expressions a mix of intrigue and worry. Two uniformed officers entered the center, their presence commanding immediate attention. The woman who had called the police pointed them toward Kelly with a decisive gesture. The officers approached Kelly with a professional demeanor, but their eyes held a trace of curiosity and concern. "Ma'am," one of the officers, a tall man with a stern expression, began as he approached Kelly. "We received a call about a possible child abduction. Can you please explain the situation?" Kelly took a deep breath, her hands gripping the edges of her chair. She met the officer's gaze with a steady resolve. "Of course. I'm Kelly Sullivan, and this is my son, Ben. I adopted him when he was a baby. I'm his legal mother." The officer's expression remained neutral as he listened, but Kelly could see a flicker of skepticism in his eyes. "Can you provide any documentation or identification to verify this?" Kelly's heart skipped a beat at the request. She knew that proving her relationship with Ben could be complicated in such a tense situation. "I have copies of his adoption papers and my ID in my bag," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. "I can show them to you." The officer nodded, gesturing for her to retrieve the documents. Kelly quickly reached into her bag and pulled out the folder containing the adoption papers and her identification. She handed them over to the officer, her hands trembling slightly. The officer took the documents and began to review them, his expression shifting as he examined the papers. The second officer, a woman with a kind face, observed Kelly with a look of empathy. "We're just following up on the report we received," the female officer said gently. "We want to make sure everything's in order." As the officers reviewed the documents, the woman who had made the call stood nearby, her expression still one of firm disapproval. Kelly felt a pang of frustration and hurt, but she forced herself to stay focused on the situation at hand. Ben, noticing the commotion, wandered over to Kelly with a curious expression. His innocent question broke through the tension. "Mommy, why are there police officers here?" Kelly knelt down, meeting Ben's eyes with a reassuring smile. "Everything's okay, sweetheart. We're just showing the officers some papers." Ben nodded, though his brow furrowed slightly in confusion. Kelly's heart ached at the sight of his bewildered face. She wanted to shield him from the stress of the situation, but she knew that transparency was important. The officers continued to examine the documents, and after a few tense minutes, the tall officer looked up. "Everything seems to be in order," he said, his tone more neutral now. "Your adoption papers and identification confirm your relationship with Ben. I apologize for the inconvenience." A wave of relief washed over Kelly, but it was tempered by the lingering discomfort of the situation. "Thank you," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I appreciate you verifying everything." The officer nodded, his expression softening. "We understand that situations like this can be stressful. If you have any further concerns or need assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to us." As the officers prepared to leave, Kelly's gaze met that of the woman who had called the police. There was no apology or acknowledgement of the distress she had caused. The woman simply turned and walked away, her demeanor unchanged. Kelly watched her go, feeling a mixture of relief and lingering frustration. The other parents in the center began to return to their activities, the normalcy of the environment slowly resuming. Kelly turned back to Ben, who was now playing again with his friends, his earlier confusion fading into the background of his play. She took another deep breath, trying to regain her composure. The experience had been draining, but she was grateful that the officers had handled the situation with professionalism and that Ben had remained safe throughout the ordeal. As the day wore on, Kelly found herself reflecting on the events. She couldn't shake the impact of the encounter, the way it had exposed the prejudice that still existed in society. It was a harsh reminder of the challenges she faced as a black mother raising a white child. Yet in the midst of this challenging experience, Kelly found strength in her love for Ben and the determination to protect him no matter what. As they prepared to leave the children's center, Kelly held Ben's hand tightly, her heart filled with a renewed sense of resolve. Despite the adversity they had faced, she knew that their bond was unbreakable, and she was determined to continue nurturing him with love and care. The day had tested her in ways she hadn't anticipated, but it also reaffirmed her commitment to stand firm against prejudice and to advocate for her family with unwavering strength. Reflections and resolutions. The drive home was quiet, the hum of the engine and the occasional rustling of Ben's toys the only sounds breaking the silence. Kelly glanced in the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of Ben's freckled face, now relaxed and focused on a small book he had brought along. His innocence and calm were a stark contrast to the turmoil they had just experienced. Kelly's thoughts churned as she navigated through the familiar streets leading to their home. The events of the day replayed in her mind, each moment dissected with a mix of frustration, confusion, and a touch of anger. She was keenly aware of the impact this experience might have on Ben, and her protective instincts were in overdrive. She pulled into the driveway and turned off the engine, taking a deep breath. Ben looked up from his book, his blue eyes wide with curiosity. "Mommy, why were the police here today? Did I do something wrong?" Kelly's heart ached at the innocent question. She tried to smile reassuringly, though her eyes betrayed her concern. "No, sweetie, you didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes grown-ups get worried about things that aren't really problems, and the police come to help us make sure everything is okay." Ben seemed to accept the explanation, though he looked thoughtful. Kelly unbuckled him from his car seat and took his hand as they walked inside their home. The familiar surroundings offered a sense of comfort and normalcy that was welcome after the chaos of the day. Once inside, Kelly led Ben to the kitchen, where she started preparing a light snack. As she worked, she reflected on the day's events, her mind wrestling with the broader implications of what had happened. It wasn't just about the confrontation with the woman, it was about the deeper systemic issues that had led to such a distressing encounter. The phone rang, jolting Kelly from her thoughts. She answered it, finding a supportive voice on the other end. It was Maria, a close friend and fellow adoptive mother. Maria had heard about the incident from a mutual friend and was reaching out to offer her support. "I just wanted to check in on you," Maria said warmly. "I heard about what happened at the children's center. Are you and Ben okay?" Kelly's voice wavered slightly as she spoke. "We're fine, thanks. It was just a really tough day. The police were professional and handled things well, but the whole situation was so upsetting. It's hard not to feel hurt by the woman's actions." "I can only imagine," Maria said sympathetically. "It's exhausting to deal with that kind of ignorance. I want you to know that you're not alone. We've all faced some level of prejudice, and it's important to lean on each other for support." Kelly appreciated Maria's words, finding solace in the shared understanding of her experiences. "Thank you, Maria. It means a lot to hear that. I just want to make sure Ben feels safe and loved. I don't want this to affect him negatively." "Absolutely," Maria reassured her. "Ben is a lucky boy to have such a strong, loving mom. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything. And maybe, once things settle down, we can get together for a playdate or just a talk. It's important to take care of yourself, too." As the call ended, Kelly felt a renewed sense of determination. Maria's support reminded her that she wasn't alone in her struggles, and that there were people who understood and empathized with her situation. She finished preparing the snack, her movements more purposeful, and called Ben to the table. They ate together, chatting about Ben's favorite toys and upcoming plans. Kelly made a conscious effort to keep the conversation light and positive, not wanting to dwell on the day's events any more than necessary. Ben's laughter and enthusiasm were like a balm to her troubled heart. Later that evening, as Ben settled into bed with his favorite storybook, Kelly sat beside him, brushing his hair gently. She reflected on the strength and resilience she had witnessed in him throughout the day. Despite the emotional turbulence, Ben had remained remarkably unfazed, his spirit undampened. Kelly kissed Ben goodnight, her heart swelling with love and pride. As she closed his bedroom door, she took a moment to herself, leaning against the wall and letting out a long, slow breath. The weight of the day's events lingered, but she felt a sense of resolve forming within her. She knew she needed to address the situation with Ben in an age-appropriate manner, ensuring he understood that the incident was not his fault and that he was safe and cherished. It was equally important to foster a sense of security and resilience in him, reinforcing the love and support that defined their relationship. The next morning, Kelly decided to take a proactive step. She reached out to the director of the Children's Center, hoping to discuss the incident and explore ways to address and prevent such situations in the future. The conversation was constructive, and the director expressed regret for the distress caused, emphasizing a commitment to inclusivity and sensitivity in their environment. Kelly's discussion with the director led to the implementation of new protocols aimed at addressing and preventing similar issues. The center would offer staff training on cultural competence and establish clear procedures for handling situations involving misunderstandings or complaints. The experience also motivated Kelly to become more involved in advocacy efforts within her community. She connected with local organizations focused on diversity and inclusion, using her experience as a platform to drive change and raise awareness about the challenges faced by families like hers. Over time, the incident at the Children's Center became a catalyst for growth and advocacy. Kelly channeled her experiences into positive actions, working to foster greater understanding and support for adoptive families and promoting dialogue around issues of race and prejudice. The days following the incident were marked by a renewed sense of purpose for Kelly. She continued to provide Ben with a loving and supportive environment, encouraging open conversations about their experiences and reinforcing the values of empathy and resilience. As the weeks turned into months, Kelly's efforts began to bear fruit. The Children's Center's new policies were well received, and she noticed a more inclusive atmosphere during subsequent visits. Her advocacy work gained momentum, and she became a voice for change within her community. Despite the challenges she had faced, Kelly remained steadfast in her commitment to her family and her values. The experience had tested her in profound ways, but it had also strengthened her resolve and deepened her understanding of the importance of standing up against prejudice and fostering a more inclusive society. Through it all, Kelly knew that her greatest strength was the love she shared with Ben. As they continued their journey together, she carried with her the lessons learned from the ordeal and the unwavering belief that despite the difficulties, they were building a future filled with hope, understanding, and resilience. Healing and new beginnings. Months had passed since the incident at the Children's Center, and life for Kelly and Ben had slowly begun to return to a sense of normalcy. The memories of that day were still fresh, but the emotional intensity had softened, replaced by a renewed focus on healing and moving forward. The challenges they had faced had become a part of their shared experience, shaping their understanding and resilience. Kelly had found solace in routine. Each day began with the comforting rituals of breakfast, school preparations, and the daily adventures that punctuated their lives. She took Ben to school, participated in parent-teacher meetings, and made time for their favorite activities, ensuring that their days were filled with positive experiences and cherished moments. One crisp autumn morning as they walked to school together, Kelly noticed a change in Ben. He seemed more confident, his laughter more pronounced, and his interactions with friends more animated. It was as if the shadows of the past had lifted, replaced by the warmth of their everyday life. The Children's Center had also undergone positive changes. Kelly's advocacy had led to the implementation of staff training programs and new policies aimed at fostering a more inclusive environment. During their visits, she saw firsthand the impact of these changes and increased sensitivity and understanding from the staff and a more welcoming atmosphere for all families. In addition to her advocacy work, Kelly had taken up a new hobby, community gardening. It started as a way to unwind and connect with nature, but soon became a passion. The community garden was a vibrant space filled with the colors of blooming flowers and the aroma of fresh herbs. It offered a serene escape from the demands of everyday life and a chance to engage with others in a shared positive endeavor. One Saturday morning, Kelly and Ben arrived at the community garden with gardening gloves, trowels, and a small basket of seedlings. They were greeted by other volunteers, some of whom were parents from Ben's school and local families. The garden was a lively place, buzzing with conversations, laughter, and the clinking of gardening tools. Ben was excited to dig in the soil and plant his seedlings. His enthusiasm was infectious, and Kelly found joy in watching him engage with the earth, his small hands working diligently. The act of planting and nurturing the garden became a metaphor for their own journey, one of growth, healing, and new beginnings. As the weeks went by, the garden flourished. Kelly and Ben spent their weekends tending to their plants, sharing stories with fellow gardeners, and enjoying the simple pleasures of their shared activity. The garden became a symbol of their resilience and a testament to their ability to find beauty and purpose even after adversity. One afternoon, as Kelly and Ben worked side by side, a familiar face approached. It was Maria, the friend who had offered support during the difficult times. She had come to visit the garden and was eager to see Kelly and Ben. The reunion was warm and heartfelt, filled with genuine affection and understanding. Maria admired the garden, marveling at the growth and vibrancy of the plants. "You've created something truly wonderful here," she said, her eyes reflecting the joy of seeing Kelly and Ben thrive. "It's amazing to see how far you've come." Kelly smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Maria. It's been a journey, but this garden has been a big part of our healing process. It's given us a sense of peace and purpose." Maria nodded in agreement. "I can see that. And it's inspiring to see how you've turned a challenging experience into something so positive. It's a reminder that even in difficult times, there's always an opportunity for growth and renewal." Their conversation was a reminder of the support and friendship that had helped Kelly through the toughest moments. Maria's presence was a testament to the strength of their bond and the importance of having a supportive community. As autumn turned to winter, the garden entered a period of dormancy, but Kelly and Ben continued their involvement with the community. They participated in seasonal events, hosted workshops on gardening, and contributed to local initiatives focused on inclusivity and education. The experiences they had shared had not only strengthened their bond, but had also deepened their commitment to creating positive change. One snowy December evening, Kelly and Ben attended a holiday event at the community center. The event featured music, crafts, and festive decorations, and it was a chance for families to come together and celebrate the season. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and joy, a contrast to the cold, snowy landscape outside. As they mingled with friends and neighbors, Kelly noticed a familiar face, one of the staff members from the children's center. The staff member approached Kelly with a friendly smile, and they exchanged pleasantries. The conversation shifted to the changes at the center, and the staff member expressed appreciation for Kelly's advocacy work. "We've seen a real difference since implementing the new policies," the staff member said. "The feedback from families has been overwhelmingly positive. Your efforts have made a significant impact." Kelly felt a surge of pride and satisfaction. "I'm glad to hear that. It's been a collaborative effort, and it's rewarding to see the positive changes taking root." The event continued with laughter and cheer, and Kelly and Ben joined in the festivities, enjoying the holiday spirit. The sense of community and connection was a reminder of the progress they had made and the importance of embracing the support and love that surrounded them. As the year drew to a close, Kelly reflected on the journey they had undertaken. The challenges they had faced had been daunting, but they had also led to personal growth, stronger community ties, and a renewed sense of purpose. The experiences had shaped their understanding of resilience and the power of positive action. Looking ahead to the new year, Kelly felt optimistic and hopeful. The past had been marked by adversity, but it had also been filled with moments of triumph and transformation. She was determined to continue advocating for change, nurturing her family, and contributing to the community in meaningful ways. The new year began with a sense of promise and possibility. Kelly and Ben embraced the opportunities that lay ahead, carrying with them the lessons learned from their journey. They knew that life would bring new challenges, but they were ready to face them with courage, love, and the unwavering support of their community. As they stood together in the garden, watching the first signs of spring emerge from the snow, Kelly felt a deep sense of gratitude. The garden, once a symbol of healing, had become a testament to their strength and resilience. It was a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there was always room for growth, renewal, and hope. Building bridges and empowering change. The arrival of spring brought with it a fresh sense of vitality and renewal. The once dormant garden began to bloom with vibrant colors, signaling a new chapter for Kelly and Ben. Their lives had settled into a rhythm of growth and positive change, and they were eager to continue their journey of healing and advocacy. One sunny afternoon, Kelly received an invitation to speak at a local community event focused on diversity and inclusion. The event, organized by a coalition of community organizations, aimed to foster dialogue and understanding among residents from various backgrounds. Kelly saw this as an opportunity to share her experiences and contribute to the ongoing conversation about race, identity, and acceptance. She spent the following days preparing her speech, reflecting on her journey and the lessons she had learned. Her goal was to convey the importance of empathy, the value of diverse perspectives, and the need for continued efforts toward inclusivity. On the day of the event, Kelly and Ben arrived at the community center, where the event was being held. The space was filled with booths, displays, and informational materials from various organizations, all dedicated to promoting diversity and social justice. Kelly felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as she prepared to address the audience. Ben, ever supportive, held Kelly's hand as they walked through the venue. His presence was a comforting reminder of the personal significance of her advocacy work. They stopped by a booth featuring books on diverse families and inclusive education, and Kelly took the opportunity to engage with other parents and educators. When it was time for her speech, Kelly stepped onto the stage with a deep breath. The audience, composed of community members, local leaders, and activists, listened attentively as she began to speak. "Good afternoon, everyone," Kelly began, her voice steady. "I'm honored to be here today to share my story and to talk about the importance of embracing diversity and promoting inclusivity in our communities." She recounted the events of the previous year, the incident at the Children's Center, the challenges she had faced, and the steps she had taken to advocate for positive change. As she spoke, she highlighted the emotional impact of prejudice and the transformative power of community support. "My son Ben and I went through a difficult experience, but it became a catalyst for growth and advocacy," Kelly continued. "We learned that change begins with understanding and empathy. It's about building bridges, not walls, and finding common ground despite our differences." The audience responded with nods of agreement and appreciative applause. Kelly could see that her message resonated with many of those present. She spoke about the importance of listening to diverse voices, educating ourselves, and actively working to create inclusive environments. After her speech, Kelly participated in a panel discussion with other speakers who shared their experiences and insights. The conversation was rich and thought-provoking, covering topics ranging from systemic racism to the role of education in fostering inclusivity. Kelly's contributions were well received, and she found herself engaged in meaningful dialogues with fellow panelists and audience members. The event also included workshops and interactive sessions designed to promote practical skills for fostering inclusivity. Kelly attended a workshop on creating safe spaces for marginalized communities, where she gained new perspectives and tools for her advocacy efforts. As the day came to a close, Kelly felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The event had provided a platform for dialogue, learning, and connection. She was inspired by the collective commitment to creating a more inclusive society and felt motivated to continue her work in this area. The following week, Kelly was approached by a local organization dedicated to supporting adoptive families. They invited her to collaborate on a new initiative aimed at raising awareness about the experiences of adoptive parents and children. The initiative included workshops, support groups, and educational resources for families navigating the complexities of adoption and identity. Kelly enthusiastically accepted the invitation, eager to contribute to a cause she deeply believed in. The project provided an opportunity to connect with other adoptive families, share resources, and advocate for greater understanding and support. As part of the initiative, Kelly and Ben participated in a series of community events and workshops. They shared their story with other families, offering insights and support based on their experiences. The interactions were heartwarming and empowering, and Kelly felt a deep sense of connection with others who had faced similar challenges. One memorable event was a family picnic organized by the initiative. The picnic brought together adoptive families from diverse backgrounds, creating a vibrant and supportive community. Kelly and Ben enjoyed spending time with other families, exchanging stories, and building lasting friendships. The initiative also featured a mentorship program, pairing experienced adoptive parents with those who were new to the journey. Kelly volunteered as a mentor, offering guidance and support to families navigating the complexities of adoption. The experience was rewarding, and Kelly found fulfillment in helping others find their way and build strong, supportive networks. As the months progressed, Kelly's advocacy efforts began to gain recognition. She was invited to speak at additional events, contribute to articles and publications, and participate in panel discussions on topics related to diversity and inclusion. Her work was having a tangible impact, and she was inspired by the growing momentum for positive change. Despite the success and recognition, Kelly remained grounded in her core values. Her primary focus was always on her family and their well-being. She continued to prioritize quality time with Ben, nurturing their bond and creating a loving, supportive environment for him. One evening, as Kelly and Ben relaxed at home, they reflected on their journey. They talked about the progress they had made, the friendships they had formed, and the positive changes they had witnessed in their community. "I'm really proud of us, Mommy," Ben said, his eyes bright with pride. "We've done so much good stuff this year." Kelly smiled, her heart full. "I'm proud of you too, Ben. You've been so brave and supportive through everything. Our journey has shown us that even in tough times, we can make a difference and help others." Their conversation was a testament to the resilience and strength they had cultivated through their experiences. Kelly knew that their journey was far from over, but she felt a deep sense of hope and optimism for the future. As they continued to build bridges and empower change, Kelly and Ben embraced the opportunities that lay ahead. Their journey had transformed them, shaping their understanding of empathy, advocacy, and the power of community. They knew that their efforts were making a meaningful impact and that their story was a testament to the strength of love and resilience. With each new day, they carried forward the lessons learned and the commitment to creating a more inclusive and compassionate world. Their journey was a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there was always room for growth, healing, and positive change. A legacy of compassion and connection. The arrival of summer brought a sense of renewal and promise. The vibrant colors of the season mirrored the changes that had taken root in Kelly and Ben's lives. The garden, now in full bloom, was a testament to their hard work and resilience. It had become a central part of their routine, a place where they found joy and solace. The success of the community events and initiatives had inspired Kelly to take on a new project. She envisioned a community center dedicated to fostering inclusivity and support for diverse families. The center would serve as a hub for educational programs, support groups, and cultural celebrations, creating a space where all families could feel welcome and valued. Kelly began working on her vision with enthusiasm. She reached out to local organizations, community leaders, and residents to gather support and resources. Her goal was to create a space that not only addressed the needs of families like hers, but also celebrated the rich tapestry of cultures and experiences within the community. One evening, as Kelly and Ben worked in the garden, Kelly shared her vision for the community center. Ben listened intently, his curiosity piqued by the idea of creating a place that would bring people together. "I think it's a great idea, Mommy," Ben said, his voice filled with excitement. "Can we have a garden at the center too?" Kelly smiled at Ben's enthusiasm. "Absolutely, Ben. We can have a garden just like this one at the center. It will be a place where families can come together, learn, and grow, just like we do here." The prospect of the community center energized Kelly, and she poured her heart into the project. She organized fundraisers, wrote grant proposals, and collaborated with architects and designers to bring her vision to life. The support from the community was overwhelming, and soon the project gained momentum. As the planning progressed, Kelly and Ben visited local schools and community groups to share their vision and gather input. They hosted workshops and focus groups to ensure that the center would meet the diverse needs of the community. The feedback was positive, and the excitement for the project grew. One summer afternoon, Kelly and Ben visited the site where the community center would be built. It was a vacant lot in a central location, with plenty of space for the gardens, classrooms, and community areas they envisioned. As they stood on the site, Kelly felt a deep sense of accomplishment and anticipation. "This is going to be amazing," Kelly said, her voice filled with conviction. "It's going to be a place where families can come together, learn from each other, and support one another." Ben nodded, his eyes wide with excitement. "I can't wait to see it all finished. And we'll have our own garden there, right?" "Yes, Ben," Kelly said, smiling. "We'll have a beautiful garden at the center, and it will be a place where everyone can come and enjoy nature." The construction of the community center began in earnest, and Kelly was deeply involved in every step of the process. She worked closely with contractors, attended design meetings, and coordinated with volunteers. The project became a community effort, with residents contributing their time, skills, and resources. As the center took shape, Kelly continued her advocacy work, speaking at events and participating in discussions about diversity and inclusion. She used her platform to raise awareness about the importance of supportive environments for all families and to highlight the progress being made. One day, as the community center neared completion, Kelly received an invitation to speak at a national conference on family support and inclusivity. The conference was a significant opportunity to share her experiences and the impact of her work on a larger stage. Kelly prepared diligently for her presentation, crafting a speech that highlighted the journey from adversity to advocacy and the importance of creating inclusive spaces. The conference provided a platform to connect with other professionals and advocates, and Kelly was eager to contribute to the broader conversation. On the day of the conference, Kelly took the stage with a mix of excitement and nerves. The audience, composed of experts, advocates, and policymakers, listened attentively as Kelly shared her story and the vision behind the community center. "Good morning, everyone," Kelly began, her voice steady. "I'm honored to be here today to talk about the journey my son and I have taken and the impact of creating supportive, inclusive environments for families." She recounted the challenges they had faced, the lessons learned, and the steps taken to build a community center that would serve as a beacon of hope and connection. Her speech emphasized the power of community, the importance of empathy, and the value of diversity in creating thriving, inclusive spaces. The audience responded with warm applause, and Kelly felt a sense of fulfillment as she concluded her presentation. The conference provided valuable connections and opportunities for collaboration, and Kelly was inspired by the shared commitment to fostering supportive environments for families. As the community center's grand opening approached, Kelly and Ben were filled with anticipation. The center had become a symbol of their journey, a place where their vision of inclusivity and support would come to life. The opening event was planned to be a celebration of community, culture, and connection. On the day of the grand opening, the community center was abuzz with activity. The space was beautifully decorated with colorful banners, artwork from local artists, and a garden area that featured a variety of plants and flowers. The event included performances, workshops, and activities for families, creating a lively and festive atmosphere. Kelly and Ben arrived early to help with final preparations. As they walked through the center, Kelly marveled at how her vision had come to fruition. The center was filled with families, children, and community members, all excited to be part of the celebration. The opening ceremony began with a ribbon-cutting ceremony, and Kelly was joined by local officials, community leaders, and supporters. As the ribbon was cut, the crowd cheered, and Kelly felt a profound sense of pride and gratitude. In her speech during the opening ceremony, Kelly expressed her appreciation for the community's support and emphasized this center's mission to create a space where everyone felt valued and included. "This center represents the strength of our community and the power of coming together to support one another," Kelly said. "It is a place where we celebrate our differences, learn from each other, and build a future filled with hope and connection." The celebration continued with performances from local artists, interactive workshops for children, and opportunities for families to connect and explore the center's offerings. The garden area was a focal point of the event, with children planting seeds and adults admiring the vibrant flowers and greenery. As the day came to a close, Kelly and Ben reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. The community center was not only a testament to their resilience, but also a symbol of the positive change that could be achieved through dedication and collaboration. The center became a hub for community activities, educational programs, and support services. It hosted events that celebrated diverse cultures, provided resources for families, and offered workshops on various topics related to inclusion and support. The garden flourished, becoming a gathering place for families to enjoy and learn together. Kelly's advocacy work continued to evolve as she collaborated with other organizations and participated in initiatives focused on diversity and inclusion. The community center's success inspired similar projects in neighboring communities, creating a ripple effect of positive change. As the years went by, Kelly and Ben remained actively involved in the center and the broader community. They continued to nurture their garden, participate in events, and advocate for inclusive practices. Their journey had come full circle, and they found joy in the ongoing impact of their efforts. One day, as Kelly and Ben worked in the garden at the community center, Kelly reflected on the legacy they had created. The garden, once a symbol of their healing, had become a place where countless families had found solace, connection, and inspiration. Ben looked up at his mother, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Mommy, this garden is amazing. I'm glad we did this." Kelly smiled, her heart full. "Me too, Ben. It's a reminder of how far we've come and the difference we can make when we work together and support each other." Their journey had been marked by challenges, but it had also been filled with moments of triumph and transformation. The community center and the garden were lasting symbols of their resilience and commitment to creating a more inclusive and compassionate world. As they continued to nurture their garden and support their community, Kelly and Ben embraced the knowledge that their efforts had made a meaningful impact. Their legacy was one of compassion, connection, and the belief that even in the face of adversity, there was always room for growth, healing, and positive change. The ripple effect of compassion. As the summer of their lives in the community center unfolded, Kelly and Ben reveled in the fruits of their labor. The center had not only become a sanctuary of support, but also a beacon of hope for many families. Its halls were filled with the sounds of laughter, learning, and connection, echoing the spirit of inclusivity that Kelly and Ben had envisioned from the start. The success of the community center had a far-reaching impact, sparking initiatives and collaborations that extended beyond their local area. Kelly's story and the center's achievements had garnered attention from regional and national organizations, leading to invitations to speak at conferences and contribute to broader discussions on family support and community building. One particularly crisp autumn morning, Kelly received an email from a well-known nonprofit organization focused on fostering social change. The organization had learned about the community center's success and was interested in partnering with Kelly to develop a nationwide network of inclusive community centers. This network would aim to replicate the model of support and engagement that Kelly had established, with a focus on creating welcoming spaces for families from diverse backgrounds. Excited and honored by the opportunity, Kelly met with representatives from the organization to discuss the details of the proposed partnership. The discussions were invigorating, filled with ideas for expanding the center's impact and reaching more communities. As the partnership took shape, Kelly and Ben embarked on a new phase of their journey. They began traveling to different cities, sharing their experiences and offering guidance to other communities interested in establishing inclusive centers. The trips were both exhausting and exhilarating, as they met with local leaders, participated in workshops, and helped design new centers tailored to the unique needs of each community. One memorable trip took them to a mid-sized city in the Midwest, where they were invited to collaborate on the opening of a new community center. The city had recently experienced a surge in diversity due to an influx of immigrant families, and local leaders recognized the need for a space that could bridge cultural gaps and provide support to these new residents. Kelly and Ben arrived in the city to find a community eager to embrace the vision of inclusivity. They spent several days working with local organizations, attending town hall meetings, and engaging with residents. Kelly's workshops on creating inclusive spaces were well received, and Ben enjoyed participating in activities with local children, sharing his experiences and learning about different cultures. The grand opening of the new community center was a vibrant event filled with cultural performances, food from around the world, and interactive exhibits showcasing the diverse backgrounds of the city's residents. Kelly and Ben were deeply moved by the warm welcome they received and the enthusiasm of the community. As the opening ceremony concluded, Kelly took the stage to speak about the journey that had led to this moment. Her speech highlighted the importance of collaboration, empathy, and the power of community in creating supportive environments for all families. This center represents a new beginning for this city, Kelly said, her voice filled with emotion. It is a testament to the strength of coming together and embracing our differences. It is a place where every family can feel valued and supported. The audience responded with a standing ovation, and Kelly felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The new center was a symbol of hope and connection, and she was proud to have played a role in its creation. As the months passed, the network of inclusive community centers continued to grow. Each center reflected the unique needs and characteristics of its community while maintaining the core values of support and inclusivity. Kelly and Ben's efforts had created a ripple effect, inspiring other communities to embrace the principles of empathy and connection. One of the highlights of this period was the annual conference organized by the Network of Community Centers. The conference brought together leaders, advocates, and families from across the country to share experiences, discuss best practices, and celebrate the successes of their initiatives. The event was a powerful reminder of the collective impact of their work and the shared commitment to fostering inclusive communities. At the conference, Kelly and Ben presented a workshop on building bridges through community engagement. The session was well attended, and Kelly shared insights from their experiences, offering practical strategies for creating inclusive spaces and engaging with diverse communities. The workshop was met with enthusiastic participation, and Kelly was encouraged by the willingness of others to learn and collaborate. Throughout the conference, Kelly had the opportunity to connect with individuals who were passionate about creating positive change. She formed new partnerships and explored innovative ideas for expanding the network's reach. The energy and camaraderie among attendees were invigorating, and Kelly felt a renewed sense of purpose. As the conference drew to a close, Kelly and Ben reflected on the journey they had undertaken. They were deeply grateful for the support and opportunities they had received and were inspired by the stories and successes shared by other participants. One evening, as they relaxed in their hotel room, Ben looked at his mother with a thoughtful expression. "Mommy, do you think we'll keep doing this forever?" Kelly smiled, her heart full of affection. "I hope so, Ben. Making a difference in the world is a lifelong journey, and I'm grateful to have you by my side. We've created something wonderful, and I believe we can continue to inspire others and make a positive impact." Ben nodded, his eyes shining with determination. "I want help too. I want to make sure everyone feels included and valued." Kelly embraced Ben, feeling a profound sense of pride. "You're already doing that, Ben. Your kindness and openness are making a difference. Together, we're creating a world where everyone can find their place and feel supported." As they prepared to return home, Kelly and Ben carried with them the lessons learned and the connections made. Their journey had expanded beyond their local community, touching lives and inspiring change on a larger scale. The ripple effect of their efforts continued to spread, creating a network of supportive, inclusive spaces that embraced the diversity and richness of every community. Back at their own community center, Kelly and Ben resumed their routine, continuing their work with renewed energy and purpose. The center remained a vibrant hub of activity, offering programs and resources that supported families and celebrated diversity. One day, Kelly received a letter from a young woman who had attended one of their workshops. The letter expressed heartfelt gratitude for the impact of Kelly's work on her own life and her community. The young woman had gone on to start a similar initiative in her city, inspired by Kelly's example. Reading the letter, Kelly felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The impact of their work was far-reaching, and the legacy of compassion and connection they had created was taking on a life of its own. As the seasons changed, Kelly and Ben continued to nurture their garden, participate in community activities, and advocate for inclusivity. Their journey was marked by ongoing efforts to make a difference and build a more compassionate world. The garden at the community center became a symbol of their enduring commitment. It was a place where families gathered, children played, and the spirit of growth and renewal thrived. Each bloom and each new seed represented the potential for positive change and the power of coming together to support one another. Kelly and Ben knew that their journey was far from over. The world continued to present challenges, but they remained hopeful and dedicated to their mission. Their legacy was one of resilience, empathy, and the belief that every person deserved to feel valued and included. As they looked toward the future, Kelly and Ben embraced the opportunities ahead with optimism and determination. Their journey had transformed them and inspired countless others, and they were committed to continuing their efforts to create a world where compassion and connection were at the heart of every community. With each passing day, they celebrated the progress made and the lives touched by their work. Their journey was a testament to the power of love, the importance of empathy, and the enduring impact of building bridges and fostering inclusive spaces.